the realm of dead air. For the next 2 hours, you will be transported into the world of the strange and the supernatural. You might not feel the need to cleanse your laptops or mobile devices afterwards. But it might not be a bad idea.
I'm pissed off.
Why now?
You know, well, I spent the $10.99. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Dead Air Live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel. We're simulcast on KGRADB.com, KGRA on Facebook. I'm George Lopez. That's Ken DeCosta. Okay.
Yeah, you're okay. George, why are you pissed off tonight?
All right. So I've been hearing for months and months about a show on Showtime. And I don't have Showtime, but I finally said, let me subscribe through Amazon and I'll watch this show. And it's $10.99 for the edition of Showtime to watch Yellow Jackets. And it didn't take me through the first season to realize that it is, if Lost and MTV had a love child and it was a millennial, that's Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
It's the only thing they're missing is a smoke monster, and if it ends up it's aliens, then I'm really going to be pissed. So no spoilers.
All right. So why are you upset? Because you watched it or because you paid for it?
Because I paid for it. I spent that money expecting it was going to be like nothing I'd ever seen before, and it's Lost in MTV. And I've seen those. Love Lost up until season finale.
So you have a producer's credit on this, or?
No.
Oh,
I don't even have a producer's credit on this show.
I thought that maybe you had some say-so in what. Hey, write a letter. Write a letter. Get kickstart something. Get that thing going. Come on, we got to take Yellow Jackets off the air.
I'm very tempted. I'm pulling something up here.
Let me know how that works out for you.
Oh, by the way,
what are you talking about again?
I don't know. I wanted to bring this up real quick too. I got an email the other day. You may or may not be aware of the fact I wrote a book with Andrea Perrin called "In a Flicker," available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. In any event, so I get this notification: film adaptation acquisition. Hey,
ooh, yeah,
all right. So this guy James Matau, and wanted to inform me that their production company, Metro Films Productions, recently come across my book, Chupa Carter and the Haunted Pinata.
Something as just like a nom de plume, George, or are you living a double life, or?
It's the unfortunate part of having a name like George Lopez, which is like the John Smith for Spanish. So something got crossed up in the wires. Then I realized I was suspect to what their intentions were. When I sent them a message back, they appreciated me making the correction and I said, yeah, and you should check out my book then. Well, thank you. And I'm going to a big event this weekend promoting movies. So just send me a picture of your book and a brief synopsis. And I'm like, okay, Headhunters, here we go.
Send him the whole book. Send him the whole book.
Word by
up there
word
on the shelf right behind you. Send him a screen capture.
Each email will be one word of the book. It'll take it forever. But hey, we got an exciting show tonight, guys. And I want to thank you for joining us. Everybody in the chat, hello once again. There's a Ron is in there. Joseph, good evening, sir. Lori, thank you so much. Jonathan. And we are talking about some fantastic haunted locations tonight, are we not, Ken?
We are. We've got a couple right up everyone's alley. If you're a paranormal enthusiast, investigator, or just somebody who's curious about this, we're going to talk a couple of locations tonight that are, well, the first one we're going to talk about checks off a number of boxes because there are haunted public locations, there are haunted homes, and there are haunted historical places. And this particular one checks off all three of those boxes. And that's maybe not unique, but it's not normal. And we have had I hate to do this to you, George, but the esteemed pleasure of spending many a night there. Um,
Jesus.
you can explain all of this to
In
our
my next
guest,
book.
George.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
you
would love
will
to.
explain all of this to our guest and catch her up on the trials and tribulations of George R. Lopez, not the one who wrote the other book.
Exactly. By the way, you mentioned not normal, and normally it's just you and I. We have somebody else joining us tonight for our interviews and for our discussion.
We
Who
do.
might that be, Ken?
Aaron? Aaron.
Hey,
Southern
Hello.
Prayer.
ladies and gentlemen.
Hello,
She
Aaron.
arrived. Genie in a bottle.
Hello, Aaron.
Hello. Hello.
I'm looking. I found it. So it is just off, and we do. Aaron,
Jeez.
we got a lot of
That's why I
Ooh.
don't investigate. Jump scare.
For a live studio audience.
Yeah, so it's gonna be exciting tonight. We got some great topics to get into here, guys. And Ken, without any further delay, let's bring our guest on, please.
I would be more than happy to. This young lady has become a prominent figure in the paranormal, and not just because of the property she owns, but her approach, the way she goes about her business, the way she conducts her business, and the care that she has given this location. And I think it's been about a year since she's owned this piece of property, and we wanted her to come on tonight, tell us a little bit about how this came to pass, what is going on at this place, and talk a little bit about her visions for the future. So, without further ado, please welcome to the show Jacqueline Nunez, owner of the Conjuring House. Yeah, we got it.
Hello.
Hey, Jacqueline.
Hi there. Thanks for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. George, is it true you've never been to the house?
Oh, no. Oh, gee.
Here we go. We'll see Ken in like 30 minutes.
I'm trying to put it behind me.
Really? George, we got to get you up here.
Easier said than done, my love. But I can tell you that it's on the bucket list. It's just the timing's just not there. Ken and I have had several discussions where I'd like to come up maybe even during the Halloween time frame when you guys have this event going on, but just doesn't seem in the cards right now. There's too many personal things that I need to work on and take care of. But I appreciate the invitation, most definitely.
You'll be welcomed with open arms whenever you can come up.
So I can have the whole house to myself for a week?
Well, maybe.
Ooh.
No. Well, you certainly wouldn't be by yourself.
No, of course not. We never are.
True.
We never are.
Yes,
You will be in good company
that's right.
on both
Yeah.
sides
Yep.
of the
Yep.
coin.
So what does that mean for yourself as an owner of an infamous property?
Yeah.
I am sure that there are many an occasion circumstances where when you bring that up in discussion and topic, people are asking for that exact opportunity to get in there.
Hello,
and go and
Indonesia,
investigate.
by the way.
Look at
Welcome.
Okay, welcome. Definitely. People, certainly people that are not in the paranormal community, whenever I tell them that I own the Conjuring House, I get this cross-eyed look and like look of disbelief, like what? And especially, I live in Boston and I've, been doing my thing in Boston for many, many years. And so it seemed, for people that really don't know me, it seemed like such a drastic change for me to buy the Conjuring House. But the people that do know me know that I've been way into paranormal stuff and spiritual stuff and consciousness surviving death for many, many years. So the Conjuring House is right up my alley, and I knew it the minute it hit the market last year. And yes, I bought it on May 26, 2022, and here we are. And it is such a
Wow.
blast. I mean, I just love it. It's so much fun. And, and I want to thank Ken and Rise Up for how great they've been to me from even before I bought it, how welcoming and kind they've been to me and how helpful they have been for us at the Conjuring House, and, just doing whatever they can to help, whether they're helping host something or, so they've been a great resource for me, and I appreciate that.
Look at you. You're
Thank
glowing.
you for that.
You're glowing. I mean, is it a dream come true?
For me, yeah. I mean, absolutely. Certainly a dream that I didn't know I had, if you will, right?
Right.
I didn't, set a 10-year goal that I want to own a famous haunted house. It wasn't anything like that. It came up very organically, but it all fell into place. And, like I said, I can't imagine not having it and not being this involved in the paranormal community. Now I can't even imagine not having that.
Yeah. One of the things I think that people probably would like to know what's on their mind is, how did you arrive at that decision that, yes, this is the property, and yes, you had an interest in subject matter, but
Yeah.
it's a different thing than taking a leap into a property like this. So what was it that spoke to you or brought you there?
It was just a gut. I do trust my gut, and I listen to my instincts a lot. I kind of always have. And when it came on, well, let me rewind. Of course, when I saw the movie, when it got released in 2013, I was obsessed with it, as probably a lot of people were, because it was such a terrifying movie. And oh my God, it's based on true events, right? So I did a deep dive just on the research then after the movie came out. So I always loved the movie and fascinated with the Conjuring universe. Always loved that. But in terms of, buying the property, it was an immediate gut feeling when I saw it hit Google trending this random Saturday morning. I'm sitting on my couch right over here drinking coffee, Google trending, the Conjuring House for sale, and I knew immediately. And then, of course, when I stepped foot on the property, it was like, oh my God, I just knew that I needed to do whatever I could to buy it. So,
Yeah. Well, a lot of people know of the house, but I don't think unless you're there, you're aware of the property surrounding the house. And that in and of itself is a selling point.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
amazing piece of country rural property.
yeah, it really is. The 8.5 acres, it's everything you'd want in a rural property. It has stone walls, it has open fields, it has a forest, it has a brook with a bridge. Just everything about it is just perfect for any type of rural property that someone would want to own, right?
Yeah.
And of course, now it's only 8.5 acres, but it started as 1,000 acres, and I can't even imagine the vastness of what it was like when it was 1,000 acres.
Right.
That's a lot of land.
It is a lot of land, and some of it isn't developed, and it adds that kind of charm to the place. Either, maybe an air of mystery into the wooded areas and so forth, because there have been a lot of things going on outdoors in that particular. I've
Mhm.
borne witness to some.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
cool.
Same.
whether it's light anomalies or voices or this odd drumming sounds coming from
Yeah.
the woods, and
Mhm.
remarkable.
Yeah, I know. And just kind of back to your point, where, we're abutted by 30 acres owned by the state of Rhode Island. That's never going to get developed. And then
Right.
behind us is all this undeveloped land in Massachusetts. So we are bordered on two sides by just acres and acres of wooded land. And yes, I've heard drumming a lot. Just it's amazing the various parts that
Bizarre.
yeah, and sometimes during the day, but a lot of times at night. Cody and Sator, they just left. They were on staff last week, and they saw this things shoot across the sky and like light up the backyard. And like, oh my God, what was that? Right? We still don't know what it was. That just happened 3 days ago. So just
Good Lord.
as John Arnold likes to say, because sometimes, Abigail and John Arnold, he'll just say, it's a very special place.
It is a very special place. And Aaron, please jump right in here whenever. What I wanted to get to, though, is that when you delved more into the history of the property, and that's ever evolving right now because there's more and more we learn about it.
Yeah.
But one of the things immediately, knowing you and having these conversations, were a willingness and an ability on your part to separate fact from fiction, from reality to, historical mythology and so forth. And this is something that somewhere along the line, you have made it part of your overall mission at this place to distinguish these things. So can you tell us a little bit about how that all came and what the importance of that is to you?
Yes, absolutely. And it was very important to me right away that we get the history and the story straight and to dispel just a lot of the stuff that was out there, right? I mean, the movie, super entertaining. We all loved it, but it never claimed to be a documentary, right? So it took a lot of Hollywood creative liberties with the, like the Bathsheba storyline in particular, being a witch and impaling an infant, that was just pure Hollywood. And certainly also Carolyn, being possessed and trying to kill her children. That was certainly never true. So the house and the activity at the house, it doesn't need those lies and stories to stand on its own. It stands on its own. The history, the actual history of it, the spirits that still are there, the spirits that come through and visit, it's enough. It's a very active place. And Ken, you've been there, I don't even know how many times, right? So it's just a very active place, and it doesn't need those false stories. And, and so that's just important to me. And I love history anyway. I dove into a genealogical line on ancestry.com. And I think my Arnold line, I have 328 people now in the Arnold line because the branches just keep, going off. And I'm trying to research, not just the owners, but like the children that grew up there. Like what happened to them? Where did they go? Right. And like a really fun, I'll just give you a fun historical fact. A gentleman named Maury Arnold, who grew up at the farm, ended up being one of the founders of Cheyenne, Wyoming. And he and his wife started the first public school in Wyoming, right? And then he moved back to Rhode Island as an old man, and he passed away in Rhode Island. Like, that's just cool history. So, so I love trying to figure out all of those stories. And 328 people in an Arnold line, that's a lot of people, but that's the legacy of the farm. Yeah.
Erin, jump right in here.
I've been there twice, and I was there last summer for the first time, and I just did the day tour, and I fell in love with it the minute I stepped foot on it. I've said for years about the place, I just wanted to be in the presence of that kind of energy. Like, that's power unlike you get the chance to witness in a lot of locations. So for me as an energy person, that was the goal for me. I just wanted to stand there and witness it. I didn't even care about touring it. I just wanted to stand near it, So, but as soon as I walked on the property, I was in love. And I cried when I left the Halloween event. And anybody who knows me, I'm not much of a crier, but it was like I really didn't want to leave. But the magic is wrapped up in the history and the land. I love the land. Get me in the dirt, get me in that brook back there with the rocks. But it's got everything. You've got spirit activity. You've got, UFO activity. You've got, I've heard some weird things in the woods myself. But it's the perfect storm of everything. And it's just breathtaking. I mean, I jokingly say, I've said it to you, Jacqueline, I've said it to Ken. I'm like, if I won the lottery, give me an Airstream trailer and just park it somewhere at that address, please. And that would be it.
Well, we were talking today. We were talking today on the phone about the house.
Mhm.
And we sort of workshopped this a little bit today, Aaron, when we were talking
Mhm.
about energies there and how they affect people. And I had mentioned that it's almost like the house, if you have a good soul, the house will bring that out in you.
Yeah.
If you have less than altruistic
Yeah.
intentions or negative intent, that too will bring that out in you.
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it affects you, and this kind of symbiotic relationship that eventually you develop. But, it just seems to be that way because the people that go there are so with such good intentions, and it's incredible. It's hard to just, describe this in an hour. The things that have
Right.
happened to us there, just
Yeah.
remarkable, because there's a willingness, I think, to interact with people who tell jokes, and we tell jokes.
Hmm.
We just like to include everybody in the fun.
And the spirits have a good sense of humor. One
They
thing
do.
that we've found out recently and I have to commend Cody and Satori. I'm very lucky to have them on staff, and as we know, their ability to communicate. So we've gained enormous amount of information through them communicating with the spirit. And one thing that we have learned, and we don't know why, they won't tell us why, is that the spirits prepare for all the guests that come in. They prepare. And
Mhm.
and when we asked, well, why or how, they won't answer. So there are a lot of things that we ask that they won't answer. They're not allowed to answer. Um, and there are certainly a lot of things that we've learned that they're not allowing us to share yet, right? Like we've learned a lot of stuff, and we're waiting for a green light at some point that we'll be able to share it with the public, but we're not able to yet. But it's just incredible, the intelligent conversations, and kind of back to the sense of humor. Just the other day, Cody and Satori, we were just having fun. We were singing, and John Arnold came through and said, "Stop singing."
People are trying to sleep around here.
It's like, stop. We started laughing. It was so funny. I mean, and they have Abigail. They do have a sense of humor, but also back to your point, Ken. Absolutely, when you come in there with an open heart, an open mind,
Right.
and you're pouring out love in your love to them, then they're going to give it right back to you, and you're going to have you're going to have some activity when you come in with that kind of energy.
And they've also let us
No
know
doubt.
when they weren't happy with certain approaches as well. And
Yes.
even describing the actions of
Mhm.
those whose approach they didn't appreciate. And I thought that was just so telling, and kind of helped me formulate my opinion on this, because we've never had a bad time there. We have never had a thing where it was, we have gotten to the point we know who's doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
We know who is.
Yeah.
The grand dame, of course, is Abigail,
Yeah.
and we have to go through Mrs. Arnold to greet and make contact with whomever's there, be it her husband or children, and to the point where we walk in immediately. It's just kind of like the thin air. It was like, "Hi, Abby, we missed you. It's nice to be back. We're bringing some guests tonight." And there is no doubt in my mind that although I don't have the means that those two young people do, that there is, they're listening. They are absolutely aware of what's going on there.
They are, and I mean they've scratched guests before, which has happened several times on a tour. That I don't know what the energy is that person has brought, but they'll show us their arm and there's a scratch, or the back of their neck. So I'm not quite sure what that is about, but that has happened a few times. That
Mhm.
has happened. So, yeah.
We learned, I
Before
know,
we,
one of the big things.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just
Go
going to
ahead,
say one
Aaron.
of the things I know we learned over Halloween, that they told us of how important it is to them. And I guess this ties in with them preparing for each guest, that they want everybody to set an intention before they walk on the property, which I thought was interesting. I'd never looked at it that way. And so I had sort of intuitively started talking to them a week before I went up the first time, just telling them, hey, I'm coming to learn. I want to be a student. I'm not, I'm just here to check it out, and I think that helps. I mean, if you let them know what you're doing, that it helps them apparently prepare for what's coming. But that it's, you're dealing with, like Ken and I have talked about this at length. At this point, y'all are getting living history.
Yes.
Like daily.
Yeah.
You're so far past the show me you're here, and you're getting lists of plants she used to plant and where she had them. I mean, that's a totally different ball game now.
Yes. The pear trees that we planted over Memorial Day weekend are planted where she told us to plant them. We also planted 2 apple trees for John Arnold because they owned an apple orchard at one point in the history. Cool. So now we have 2. Right.
So
and
cool.
We have Abigail's biscuit recipe that, I've made a couple of times, her biscuits.
That's
and we
good.
have her bread recipe that I haven't tried yet because it calls for, I think it's called pearl ash, which since the 1800s has been proven to be a very toxic ingredient.
Oh, no.
So now it's like baking powder. But when she was like, what is pearl ash? You Google and it's basically now baking powder. But I haven't taken on her bread recipe yet, but that'll be next. So yeah, you're right, Aaron. It's not just, make the REM pod light up. It's giving us detailed information and, their wishes, right? They're very grateful. When we planted the pear trees, Abigail, my trees, but she was very appreciative and thanked us for doing that, which was, it's just awesome.
There's so much. She did not know what lasagna was, but knew what pasta was. Okay. Now well, that's the thing. We go into places, make this light up, make the sound go off. Is this male or a female? At the Conjuring House, we get biscuit recipes.
Right.
I mean, we're trying to find out, how many children they had, or the typical questions we ask, trying to communicate. And she's telling us about pears and pasta and biscuit recipes and all the rest. I mean,
we need a Conjuring House cookbook.
I know, right?
It's coming.
From the spirits. Here we go. Yeah. But I think that's what's so magical because, unfortunately with the movie, it's the movie and you have the Hollywood end of it and you're never going to get away from that, right? That's just, so you have to embrace it, but you also get to now shift the energy as best you can.
Yes.
And get the right people involved. And, you've got Rise Up and you, Cody and Satori, your team. And all these are people who have the spirit and the property's best interest at heart. And I think that's where the shift is so fundamental in a place like that, because they have every right not to trust people. I mean, it's not like I did anything wrong, but, people with the movie and blah, 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 y'all are shifting all of that now.
Well, I think that they're feeling understood, right? Like we have an interest in them and their stories. So I think that they appreciate that we're working to understand them. And I'd like to think that makes them happy, right? That they're being understood.
Our presence there isn't performative.
Right.
And we are not asking them to entertain us like you see so much now. Move this, it's like, please, I mean, you're in my home. And this is me saying this, and you can follow through or not, but social media has played a big role in perpetrating a lot of the mythologies about the place for entertainment, for clicks, for likes, for their own profit. And it just, I can't think of another word other than just, perpetuated a lot of, what people want it to be or think it is, because, they want that element of fear. And I can tell you what you are doing and your approach goes a long way in terms of resolving that and trying to give the world not just the world, but just trying to be a good neighbor in Harrisville, which is a small little village in Burrowville. But just to give people an open sense of what this is all about, and try as best you can to just kind of put those things to the side and just give this another chance, a fresh start.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the challenges, because a big group of people that we call them content creators, and they're people that are coming in to create content for their, their social media platform, their, 10 million YouTube followers or whatever they might have. So it's been a challenge trying to police what they put out without trying to complete, I'm not interested in completely controlling anyone's content, but I
Right.
do want them to be respectful and mindful of the truth of the history as we know it. And we recently had a thing with a content creator that they posted a video with all the Bathsheba stuff, and we had to go after them because they had to sign a contract, and so we had this big thing with them that they had to do to fix it. So it's still a challenge. And also, I think a point that you made, Ken, sometimes it can feel disappointing when some of the content creators come in and they already have their very fixed agenda of the story that they want to tell.
Right.
That isn't necessarily really related to the truth and the reality of what the house is. And they miss opportunities to really just engage with the spirits and learn some of these stories. They come in with, a demon or whatever. And so they really lose a big opportunity to get a fuller picture of what our location is.
Mhm. I want to take the opportunity because we have a couple of questions that we're going to get to in chat, but I want to take an opportunity to give everybody a little bit of a virtual tour of the inside of the place. And we'll go through these really quick because we also want to give you the information if you would like to visit and participate in some of these tours and events. We're going to be talking about where you go to do that because there have been a few people that I know it's like never been to the house before. Strongly encourage you.
I better pay attention.
Yes.
I better pay attention. Then go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, come back in. Okay, so a virtual tour. This is the basement, and every one of these places has a story. But in the interest of time, we'll pass on those
These are
and
great
just give
photos.
just give you a general idea. A lot of these are courtesy of our really good friend Frank Grace, who has told Aaron, use whatever you want.
I start to get mad when I'm like, Frank Grace didn't shoot this place.
Yeah, Frank's such a good guy. And this is the library.
He's got such a great eye.
He really does. And again,
Cool
the
colors.
seance room.
Mhm.
And we all know the story attached there. We'll give you a little look at the upstairs. And this is where the Perrin girls would spend the nights. This is the borning or birthing room.
Yeah.
Upstairs, crawl space in the attic. And one of the beds, and there's significance to those two doors as well. I mean, there were liberties taken, of course, with the movie, but there was a basis of some of the stories on that. But as you can see, in the times that we've been there, and we ask everybody about halfway through whatever event we're doing, how do you feel about the place? I have never had one person say, oh, I don't know, I don't want to go in there. It's like they all come away saying, this place is beautiful. It is so comfortable and so welcoming and so good. And then they still have activity. So they're getting the best of both worlds. They're getting a true sense of the house as well as, being rewarded for their approach. So beautiful, beautiful place. I am so honored on behalf of all of us, Jacqueline, to even play the smallest of roles in this. And before you get out of here, George, I also want to talk about our event this fall that Jacqueline is playing a major role in. Back to you.
Yeah. Our very special guest on the first hour, Jacqueline Nunez. Don't forget, guys, in the second hour, we're going to be talking about the live investigation coming up at the Shanley Hotel this coming Friday at 8 p.m. Of course, Ken DeCosta, Rise Up Paranormal, will be in attendance at the location, as well as our producer, Bill Forte. He'll be joining us in the second hour also. And at the helm, at the computer, of course, not at a great haunted location, will be myself, and also the very lovely Erin Bush, who will be assisting. So make sure you guys check it out. The second hour, we're going to be talking about this location, and we have some special guests joining us at that point in time also. But Jacqueline,
Yeah.
loved you on Boston Legal. Actually, that was a fantastic show, by the way. I gotta ask. Well, there's a couple things I'm sure people would ask from the chat or curious about. Are there cams set up yet? Live cams? Will there be in the future live cams for people to monitor the location? Have you considered it? What are the pros
Yes.
and cons?
That is a great question, George. And I've had a couple of starts and stops of trying to do it. So we're not, just when I think we're ready, we're not ready. And I'm not going to release it out as a streaming service, which what I want to do is release a streaming service, subscription service, and we will have 8 cameras available that people can pick and choose from of
Wow.
what room that they want to watch. And we'll do it a few times a week. We're not going to do it 24/7, 7 days a week. We have to balance the privacy of guests coming in with other things that we have going on. So we'll pick and choose, and we'll offer it for, I don't know, 12 hours on those days for people to pick and choose when they want to do it. But I'm not going to release it until it's flawless. And it's
Are we talking both indoor and outdoor, since there's outdoor activity?
We're going to start out with indoor only, and then we can add from there. It's not an easy thing. No one has really done it the way that we're trying to do it. So we've just had some challenges. But again, I won't release it until I feel like it's running consistently perfectly, right? So that's because I don't want cameras going down or people not being able to with buffering issues or whatever. So we just still have some kinks to work out. But the goal is, yes, it will launch, but I don't know that date yet. We're, I'm focusing a lot of other events that we have going on. We've just launched what we're calling Gamping, Ghost Camping. For the summer, we have select dates for that, where people can come and stay in a tent. And right, the land is haunted. It's why the house is haunted. So come check it out and explore the land and stay in a tent and explore the property. So that, we already have a lot of bookings for that. We're bringing Andrea in on July 19th for the 10-year anniversary of the movie. We're about ready to launch that event. Coming up this week, we'll launch that. She's flying in. We're going to have a big screen set up under the tree that inspired the Conjuring tree.
Yeah.
We're going to have the big screen set out down there, and then we're going to watch it on the 10-year anniversary, and then a couple nights after that. So that'll be a lot of fun too. So there's certainly plenty that is in the works, that we've put in the works, and then eventually the streaming will come. Eventually it will come.
And I want to give Erin some time to ask you questions before we go to break, but I would like to know, besides the cams, are there things on the drawing board that what you can discuss? Of course, Jacqueline, obviously you don't want to give away the candy store here, but are there events or construction, or is there anything that's going on or you're planning on doing in the future for those people who are planning maybe a year from now to come and visit you?
Yeah, well,
what they can expect.
Yeah, so we are in the process of renovating the old barn. That's underway.
Very
We are
nice.
preparing that for an event space. And, the first thing we have planned will be very exciting, and I think people are going to love it, but we will not be announcing that until later, probably sometime in September. We will announce what our plans are for that, but it will be a general event space. So we're very excited about that's the next big thing that's coming up.
What's the look it's a huge property. I
Yeah.
know that for a fact.
Yeah.
For any type of extension, construction, build-ons for, for people who want to stay, maybe there's cabins or cottages or anything like that, so that they're not particularly in the house, or is that just a zoning issue?
Yeah, I mean, that's a zoning issue. I am, finalizing my process through the town to be able to offer the camping that we are offering. So at this point, the only plans for what you're suggesting to stay in cabins and stuff will be the tents and maybe eventually a couple of travel trailers to have on site that we would offer seasonally. I wouldn't see us offering that over the winter or anything. So that would be a seasonal thing, the camping that we are offering now. But I don't foresee like building cabins, or I don't foresee that. We have to balance.
Those are some fancy tents. Those are some
Huh?
cool tents. Like the
no, we
tents
have
are
some-
super cool.
Yeah, we have, and I made sure I bought like 8-person tents or 10-person tents to fit 4 people. So,
Right.
so the tents are generously sized. 6 of our tents sleep 4, and 2 of them will sleep 3. Well, and actually we have one trailer. But the fun part, right? We've given all the tents a fright factor. We've rated them for their fright level. The tents over the bridge, I mean, those are going. I mean, that's going to be terrifying for people. I mean,
That's a special kind of bravery there.
It is. It's terrifying for me, like to cross that bridge by myself at night. I mean, it's just
Right?
pure blackness. And I mean, it's just so dark. It's scary. And I own
Yeah.
it.
And anything you see out there isn't man-made.
Right.
It's just not.
Right. I mean, there are stories of light orbs luring people deeper into the woods. There's a story
Wow.
just last year when I bought it, one of the first weekends, a paranormal group, one guy, very experienced paranormal guy, he pitched a tent out across the bridge in the woods, and he came hauling back to the house at about 2 a.m. because he saw 2 figures standing outside of his tent, and it flipped him out. So, so he came running back. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun for the brave souls that are going to be doing that.
Aaron, I'll give you until about 10 of any questions that you have for our guest. And then we've got some questions in the chat that Ken needs to get to. But the only question I have left before I turn it over to Aaron is, are show hosts going to get discounts when we go there?
Certainly, George. I'll work with you on that.
Aaron, over to you.
Yeah. So first of all, Aaron. So I'm just
Yes,
finding out, we are bringing Aaron up for a couple of weeks sometime in July. She's going to be helping us.
Oh, great.
Conjuring House. She's going to be working with us. We're just trying to finalize the plans for that. So I'm very excited to bring you up, Aaron.
I'm
excited. We might make George cry now.
I'm overwhelmed with excitement for you, Aaron.
Ouch. I just hit my head. That was instant karma for that, I guess. Yeah, I'm so excited. It is a beyond a dream come true, because I massively love that place, as you know. And I think it is important to have people with the right connections and intentions. And so to be able to be involved on any level is just an honor. Yes. And we'll bring Bean, the tiny tornado, with us. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be super fun. So my question for you, what's your favorite place on the property, inside or out?
That is a great question.
And like not even from a haunted standpoint, but like from a contemplative, comfortable, this is where I want to meditate, have my coffee kind of location.
I always go in the library for that. So the library is
wow.
Yeah, I love the library. And outside, I love the lower field, like near that big Conjuring Creek. I love the lower field. Just sit down there. And we have since built a really big fire pit that's out there now, surrounded with Adirondack chairs. So now that's a really fun place to hang out now. Yeah.
You realize it's going to be hard to get me out of there when July's up, right? You'd be like, Aaron, no, seriously, got to go. But I think that's the thing people miss about the place. Sometimes they get so fixated on the movie that there's so much beauty in that place, haunted or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the brook. I could sit by that brook
Yes.
all
And
day
just
and all night.
walking through the woods, talking about forest bathing. I mean, there are so many trails that
Yeah.
lead, through this, because it connects to the state land of Rhode
Mhm.
Island that people
Mhm.
can walk through. I mean, it's just all the trails and the ponds and the sounds and it's great.
Sometimes the lack of sound.
Yeah.
Have you
Sometimes
noticed that back there? There's nothing sometimes, but just the beauty of the house. And so I think the other question I had for you is, it's
Yeah.
probably been a wild year to navigate. Not only did you buy one of the most infamous haunted houses in this country, but you got tossed into the center of this community that you were somewhat familiar with, but now you're square in the center of it. What do you
Yeah.
think is the biggest lesson you've learned for yourself in the last year as you've been navigating this craziness?
The lesson I've learned from myself, well, first of all, the paranormal community has been very nice to me and kind
yeah.
to me through this process, right? And I think the lesson that I think I went in that I'm holding on to is that it is really about the guest experience, right? To make sure that we are creating events and that we have the staff and that we have the setup for people to have a great experience. That is the number one driving thing for me, that guests, and that we can offer as many different experiences as feasible for them to experience the Conjuring House. We can't support, we're not 100-person venue. We can't bring in, we're not an asylum or a penitentiary that you can just bring in hundreds of people to come on a tour. I mean, we're limited to about 30 people at most. So in order to give people different experiences, that we try to offer at different price points, right? We are creating different, like the whole gamping thing, right? That's just another way to experience the property. So I'm not quite sure that answers your question, but it is the lesson I brought in that I'm continuing to kind of try and stick to.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Fantastic.
Because I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to learn from you, because you're navigating a new community, which of course is phenomenal, but there's a lot that goes on there. And so to be able to keep kind of the same focus is pretty impressive,
And the guests, I mean, we get people from around the world, people.
You do.
Someone flew in from Germany just to come to the Conjuring House. I'm like, oh my God, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the guests are great. Very rarely, once in a while we'll get a jerk. But like, really, I can count since the time that I've owned it, like less than a handful of times that someone's just been like, obnoxious, or we had to ask them to leave. Like, that just hasn't happened. The guests have been great and very respectful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So far, so good, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Ken, let's have you come back on. We have about 10 minutes left here, and we got to get to some of those questions. But I will say this, after talking to Jacqueline and having her join us on the show tonight, the meter for going up there in the fall is leaning more towards yes.
Awesome.
You gotta right up with us.
Visit. Come see us. You'll love it.
How can you resist that face?
Yes, happy.
Face of an angel. Okay. What are those questions, Ken? Let's hit them.
Yeah, let's go to the questions real quick. This is not going to take long because I decided to give Cody and Story a well-deserved night out tonight, because I didn't say, no, come on the show or anything. So let's just get to those right away. What is it like to work with Cody and Satori so often?
They
Has Cody and Satori found out anything groundbreaking about that's supposed to be house? And is there a way to tell when Satori and Cody are at the Conjuring House?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cody and Satori to the show. Oh, they're not here? Okay.
In absentia, they are here.
So I'm
Lots
going
to unpack.
Yeah. So, I mean, certainly we have, and I mentioned a little bit earlier in the interview, we have discovered a lot of information with the help of Cody and Satori that we're just not at liberty to share yet. And someday we will be able to. So they've enabled us to have, very intimate conversations with the spirits. So what's it like to work with them? I mean, what's great about Cody and Satori there are a lot of things that are great, but the skill, the gift that they have to communicate is also, encased in such humbleness and modesty. Like they just don't
Yes.
have egos. And
No.
that's one of the best things about them is they don't have egos. They do what they do to help people, and they do it in an organic way. So that's, I really respect that about them. But to answer your question, all of our staff is great. So, I don't announce when any particular staff is going to be a caretaker or on tour. Once in a while we do, but as a general rule, that is not our policy to be announcing which staff is going to be caretaken on what week. That's not our
Well,
policy.
anything could change in a moment's notice.
Mhm.
That's right. That's right. And right, Ken. And you wouldn't want people booking because they think particular staff is going to be there, and then something happens and that staff isn't there. So
Exactly. You
we
never
Right.
know
Yeah.
when they're called away for filming
right.
at a moment's notice.
Right.
So that's absolutely.
Right.
This is a really good question from Shelley. Do you guys think the energy from the spirits keeps that structure standing so beautifully for so long? Shelley, that's an
That's a
excellent
good
question.
question.
That is an excellent question. I mean, I think I'd like to think that the energy from the spirits has impacted the various owners through time, that perhaps
Mhm.
make them want to take care of the property, because it is amazing, right? Deeded in 1680, house built in 1736, the care that every owner has taken for it to still be in the condition that it is now. So maybe it's a combination of both. Certainly the owners, right? They had to physically do it.
For sure. And I wanted to touch on a couple of things, and we've talked about this in past shows as we promote our charitable event this September, and I'm going to put the poster up there for everybody. And if you see at the top, that looks like a familiar house to me. And we have to thank Satori Pause for the artwork and Cody for doing the poster. And you can see the amazing guests we have this year for this year's Ocean State Paracon as we return to Harrisville, Rhode Island to celebrate the 10th anniversary of The Conjuring. So there is a lot of activities scheduled for this, and I'd be remiss if I also didn't include our friend Michelle Roos, who I am blown away and so happy that this accomplished woman is going to be joining. She's going to be giving a presentation. If you don't know who Michelle is, you're welcome in advance.
I can't wait to meet
But
her.
she's amazing.
She's incredible.
But what's significant about this is that our sponsor this year is none other than Jacqueline Nunez and the Conjuring House.
Wow.
The generosity and the graciousness to do this, to do this because it's a big endeavor, especially when you're having it in a festival setting at the Assembly Theater. It's a lot of work. It really is, and all worth it for a great cause this year, the Tomorrow Fund, which is something that's close to Cody Desbian's heart.
Yeah.
He helped the family through some tough times when he was
Mhm.
going chemo for his condition. So Jacqueline, again, publicly, thank you so much. I've done this privately, and I will keep doing it until the restraining order comes. But thank you so much for all of this. The investigation on Sunday night is sold out. You can get tours. You can take tours of the house during the weekend. Some of those are still up there. And there's an awful lot of activities that are going on. So, to partner with Jacqueline on this and the house and to have it available, this will no doubt, just by the early response, be one of the great events that we've had in the 12 years we've been doing this.
Yeah,
So
no,
thank you.
I can't wait for it. And 10-year anniversary. Andrea's going to be here. It's for a great cause, the Tomorrow Fund. I mean, it's just, it's going to be a blast. And it's right in Harrisville. So My pleasure. We're going to have a blast.
Yeah. And the other thing I want everybody to know, if they're interested in visiting the house, exactly where can they go to pick a date and look for availability? How can they do that, Jacqueline?
Yeah, so just go to theconjuringhouse.com. We offer hour tours. We offer a 90-minute extended tour. We have overnight investigations. We have hosted what we call go events, 5-hour events, all-night events. And then, of course, we've just launched our gamping, the ghost camping. So, yeah, please check out our website and find a date and come visit us. We'd love to see you.
Fantastic. I'm honored to be able to speak to you. I mean, it's kind of surreal that all the different people that surround me, including the people on this screen, have had an opportunity to go out there. I will make it my mission to come out and visit and get a chance to shake your hand and thank you so much for everything that you've contributed to this location. And Andrea and I, we know each other very, very well. I know how she feels about it too. So God bless you for everything you do.
Thank you. And thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate it. So
Jacqueline,
thank you so
come
much.
back and see us soon, anytime.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Bye, Jacqueline.
Bye.
Fantastic. Now, what do we got to do? Oh, my goodness. We have
We gotta
a
pay
great
bills.
second hour right after the break here, guys. We're going to be coming back. And Ken, we've got some guests joining us as well. Is that not correct?
We do. We have Julie DeMay from Rise Up coming in. And what we're going to do is preview next Friday. This is important to note. A
This
special
coming
day.
Friday. Yeah, this coming Friday.
Next Friday, a live investigation, 2 hours. And if we go a little bit longer, you'll be able to catch the rest of it on Dead Air Full Spectrum, but it'll be simulcast right here on KGRA from we'll get into it when we come back.
Yeah. All right, guys, stay with us. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Bill, over to you.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
As UFO reports come in from around the world, the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, is there. We continue to explore new cases and build our massive database. We share our information with the world in a number of ways. If you would like to be part of our investigative team, you are always welcome. What could be more exciting than exploring the UFO question firsthand? Join MUFON, find your friends.
Did you know 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated? If you struggle with focus, run low on energy, or when it's time to finally sleep, you simply can't, this can all be linked to dehydration, and Fuel Up has the answer. Our proprietary formula contains the finest cellular hydration with the strongest immune-enhancing natural ingredients. The Fuel Up system is made up of 3 different incredibly tasting varieties. Wake kickstarts your day with a jolt of caffeine. Play boosts focus while hydrating your cells. Rest not only helps you relax, but also rejuvenates your cells while you sleep. Here's what our clients have to say.
I really don't miss my coffee, and you can tell the difference.
So I'm going to take it for the energy. I'm going to take it for the play. I'm going to take it, all day.
And it works. That's the thing. It works. We love it.
Take the Fuel Up Challenge now, where we offer a Feel the Difference money-back guarantee. Fuel Up for life.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
And welcome back, guys, to the second hour of our show. Again, thanks to Jacqueline Nunez for being a fantastic guest and a fantastic property owner as well. And I know that, again, everybody that I speak to speaks highly about the location, what's been done there, and fantastic owner. So thank you so much. But we have so much more still to bring to you guys here in the second hour because, as was said by Ken just before the break, Rise Up Paranormal and a group of interesting characters are going to be heading up this Friday night to the Shanley Hotel to do a live investigation right here on Dead Air. And if you guys don't put it down on the calendar, now's the time to do it. Also put down on your calendar again. Apologies for those who are coming in to see a wonderful person and a personality from the field, Michelle Belanger, that was going to be joining us during this hour. It was a scheduling mishap on our side, but she will be, and write it down, mark it down in your book, or put it on your phone. That's what everybody does now, your calendar.
Right.
June 2nd, she'll be with us at that point in time, talking about some new programs that she's going to be working with. So we're looking forward to that also. Now, Ken, we're going to bring Aaron back with us, and somebody, when I say characters, is going to fit right into that category because this particular character, well, he's our producer. He's going to be with you guys up there at the Shanley, correct?
He is.
Nice.
Well, let's bring him
find
on.
out.
Then.
Let's see. Bill, are you going to be there with us?
I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready. I can't wait to meet all of you in person. Julie, the whole.
Hey, why don't we do this? We debuted this last week. Let's give you a little look at what's going on. Take another 3 minutes for you to kind of chew on this a little.
Over the past months, Dead Air has brought you a series of live paranormal investigations featuring the Rise Up Paranormal Society. In doing so, we've given you an inside look at the group and its methods, as well as taking you into some of the most active locations in the country. First, you join the group and our in-studio hosts at the iconic Conjuring House in Harrisville, Rhode Island, where a host of approaches, with the invaluable assistance of its resident spirits, separated reality from mythology and opened doors to its history and those who inhabit the location or come in visitation. Next, we spent the holidays at the Payne House Museum in Coventry, Rhode Island, where we were entertained with stories of Christmases past and a look into the histories and behaviors of its occupants, and amazingly ourselves, as we delve deeper into the mysteries of the former stagecoach stop, inn, and tavern. For the first time, we took viewers into the Alley Theater in Middleborough, Mass., as we explored its various iterations through the years and connected with spirits eager to tell their own stories, with messages of hope and encouragement about what lies beyond. While there, we also encountered a more aggressive entity that is as unwelcome to those who remain as it was to us. Then we recently visited the Oliver House in Middleborough, Massachusetts, where a series of personal messages to the living from loved ones who had passed resulted in an emotionally charged investigation that also yielded some revealing secrets of the colonial-era home and its former residents and caretakers. Now, on a special Friday night edition of Dead Air, Rise Up will travel to Napanoch, New York, for a live investigation of one of the Northeast's most haunted locations, the Shanley Hotel.
What the
With a long history of tragedy involving owners, staff, and guests alike, Rise Up's first visit to this former bordello, social gathering spot, and mob hangout will no doubt uncover some of its most closely held secrets and why the building remains so paranormally active. Mark the date, Friday, June 16th, from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, the Shanley Hotel live investigation, only on Dead Air Full Spectrum on YouTube and the KGRA Digital Network, with a simulcast on Rise Up Paranormal and Dead Air Facebook pages.
Very, very nice.
All right. Good night,
Again.
ladies and gentlemen. That's our show.
I really need a baby monitor in the room. If I freak
June
out.
16th, this Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, guys. So make sure to put it on your calendar. Speaking of calendar, thanks to Ken's better half, Dawn, in the chat. I said June 2nd. It's past that already. It's July 2nd is when Michelle Belanger will be joining us. So apologies for that. You look at my
Go,
eyes.
Mrs. Rise Up. Always
wiped
looking out. Quality control there.
Yeah. So, Bill, it'll be
You know
your
who
first
really runs
time.
things over there.
Bill, first time with the entire crew up there for you then, huh?
Looking forward
Hi,
to
Aaron's mom.
Yes. I actually went prior with Entity Voices Paranormal Investigations on one of their investigations at the Kreischer Mansion, Staten Island. And it's great to see all the professionals like yourselves up close and personal and see it from my perspective. I will be bringing equipment with me as well. And I've got to tell you guys, I got to show you. This is something that we're going to use for all your devices to stream it live. This is called a MiFi. We could connect 30 devices to this, and you won't have any issues with any of your signals to stream. So there could be no issues of breaking up or audio out, not with this. So
Our
I'm
guest,
That's gonna make Julie so happy.
our guest Julie DeMay is Googling
Yeah,
that
she'll
right
be the
now.
judge of that.
You will see.
Check into that. Let's bring Julie on right now also, because that sounds like an interesting addition, doesn't it, Julie?
Oh yeah, awesome. It's one less thing I got to worry about. I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Now, I just want to ask you guys one thing.
Yeah.
In that little clip, it said that guests have had issues as well. Some, I hope we can elaborate on that, because that, makes me a little. The guests that have stayed there have had issues.
What do you want to know?
I mean, what happened to them?
Julie, what happened to the guests there? I know that some of them were found safe and sound within a 10-mile radius from the hotel.
Oh, they don't like that.
With zero memory.
Right.
Yep, that too. We're good. We're good.
I mean, beyond that.
Oh, Julie has her friend.
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Oh no.
Wait, hold that up. Jeez.
Wow.
Jeez Louise. Now, you probably saw Annabelle in one of those video clips where Julie, why don't you explain how she works? Because she does have a job on this.
Yeah, she Marie had brought her up for the trip, And she has a motion sensor in front of her. She's off right now, but if you go in front of her, she'll go off. And we had her go off several times in rooms where nobody was in there. Scared
that's
the
going to be a
living crap
change.
out of us.
That's going to be a change for an investigation, because from what I hear, usually Ken's the one that goes off.
No. I'm a very calm director. You know, when things don't go my way. No, the thing about it is her head starts spinning.
Yeah.
And when it's a proximity sensor, basically you set it and forget it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the dogs that we use and everything like that, except she just tends to hold your attention a little longer. But her head starts to spin. And when we put that video together, I was working with Erin on the video, and she messages me and says, please tell me that thing has freaking batteries in it. I mean, she didn't say freaking, but you follow my drift.
Right.
Because if that thing doesn't have batteries in it, I'm just going to whip my phone across the room here. But yeah.
Jeez.
Now, yeah, she's slightly terrifying.
And Erin, I've got, Bill's talking about he's bringing equipment, and, to appreciate the MiFi that you have there. But once, and make sure you have a camera on him. We will have a camera on him for sure. But once Cody and Satori start doing their tapping method, see how they added that in, Ken? Their tap method. I think Bill's going to be too busy trying to figure out how in the hell they're doing what they're doing.
Totally agree. I am. I can't wait to see this in person. I want to see where the noise emanate from. I see all of you involved in this, and I of course anybody's going to go into that and say, okay, let's see how this process actually works.
I'm going to bet the over that Bill will say I'm freaking out 12 times.
At least.
Yeah.
I'm betting the over on that.
I am not taking that bet. There's no way.
The interesting
and some
thing,
other four-letter expletives. There'll be a lot of those too.
Yeah, there'll be a lot.
Just like me.
We're on a delay. But the interesting thing about it now, Julie has been there before, and we're going to play some clips here shortly of her visit. And another one of those people in the video was actually Jacqueline Nunez, who took the trip to the Shanley. It was like a girls' night out. So they came back with some interesting things. So we'll play some of those things for you coming up here very soon. But for myself, Steve Mills, who will be joining us as well, and Cody and Satori, they'll be on location as well. For all of us, it'll be our first visit there. And we absolutely love the idea, because this will be the first one, I think, out of all the ones we named where we're not making a return visit. We're making our initial visit to the place, and those are always really interesting. So,
well, Julie, tell us that girls' night out. Is it something that would you say, if you have an all-female investigative team, that it's more of an intuitive type of investigation, or are still very equipment based, which I know you are?
I think it was a little bit of both. I'd say this investigation, we had so much fun. I have never laughed so much. The amount of F-bombs was throughout the night, but it was because of evidence, things that happened. So a lot of the evidence has to be beeped. But it was awesome. We had, whether or not having a group of women in there made a difference, I'm not sure. But we had so much fun. And the evidence we got, first of all, this place is super creepy. I mean, we've been to Eastern State and a lot of places. This is the creepiest place I've ever been. Wow. So it added to the ambiance. Wow,
that's saying a lot.
It is.
And yeah, it's super creepy. We have the whole place, which is great. It's just, everything about it was amazing. We had, at times we had bangs on the ground, and I'm like, Cody and Satori, they can do it. These guys are doing it on their own. Whoever was on the other side joining us, and you could clearly hear the tapping on the ground, voices. Now our group I mean, whether it be the girls group or Rise Up, we're not big into spirit boxes and things like that. I just use my cameras. We have voice recorders. I have whispering. We have, things being touched with nobody near them. It's sort of old school, but guess what? We got a ton of stuff, and we have people talking. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. So I'm really looking forward to going back.
Julie,
you know what I love about it, and all like girls' night out, plenty of sandwiches being made for us.
Yeah. Oh.
My wife is coming up the stairs as we speak right now to punch me square in the nose.
Julie, is there any one specific area of the home that has like more activity than the others, or is the whole house generally active?
We had activity throughout the house, but I think the most interesting place was the bordello. And I think some of the people had gone to bed early. This was maybe around 2:00. We were hanging up there, and we had a lot of things happen up there. And that's when the doll decided to, we had multiple devices go off in multiple rooms simultaneously.
Wow.
That just never happens.
Wow.
And that's some of the clips that we have. So it's really, really, it's really cool. Again, looking forward to going back. And again, I'm glad that, with the girls group we have, I knew I went up there, brought all my cameras. We got a lot of evidence. So I'm thinking this is another opportunity for a great live event. We reached out to the Shanley. They're awesome. We asked, yep, you can do a live event. They put our promo video on their webpage to come in, and we actually have evidence to play. So it's not just a live event. Our other ones have been great. We have evidence to play. So you're not just watching people do a live investigation. As we all know, it's pretty boring. Unless and in that 2-hour window, but we're going to have a mix of a lot of things. So it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think so, because I wasn't kidding in the promo where I says, the place has a lot of secrets, and doing what we do with the assistance of, Cody and Satori to get that kind of emotional content, I think we're going to be able to get at, again, it's like the Conjuring House, separating, mythology from actual names and what people did there. So we're very much looking forward to this. With everybody's indulgence, we're talking about the Bordello Room. How about if we play a couple of clips from Julie's night out? Okay. Or as we like to call her, Ferris Bueller's day off. This is one where someone heard something, and then we have the opportunity to go in and really dissect the clips to hear what it is they've heard, to be able to isolate it and enhance it. So this is the clip, and right after it, we'll play the actual EVP that was caught. This is in the bordello.
From below us.
Yeah, I thought I did, but I was like, maybe
Mark
it's my
audio.
head. Like your face, I was like, I have to ask you.
It was a male voice.
Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
Like we're being too loud or something up here.
Maybe we were interrupting their card game downstairs.
We want to join.
We're the females in the female room. I thought that's where we were supposed to be. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so male voice they heard, isolated. It's only a 3-second clip. This is what they heard.
I heard that. But wait a minute. In the first clip, is that the sound that's heard? Because I heard like a whisper.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the sound that was heard, but a lot of times, depending on how far away the camera mic is, who's talking, how many people are in the room, the distance away, and the volume level of whatever's said, whoever heard it had good ears. So what that means is it's not technically an EVP. There's a disembodied voice.
Can I remark what I think I heard it say?
Go for it.
With the headphones, and it's appropriate for the early part of the 20th century, but it sounded like bounce, like get out of here. That's something they used to say back in the 1930s, 1940s. time to bounce. So play it again if you can.
Sure. People say bounce. People say help. Let's play it again, Sam.
I can hear
hear
bells.
it at the end. Yeah.
I also hear bells, like the word bells or help.
Sounds like bells too.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Julie, I got to ask, Ken coming and Bill coming on Friday, are they cramping your style?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Just making
Nope.
sure.
We're good. If anything, we have a great team coming, and this is so really important on our investigations. The location is great, but you have to have a great team. And we absolutely do. And we have a great team that's virtual because it takes we all know there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background on these live events. And so far we've done really, really well on the ones we've done, but having the team there and the people that we have is definitely gonna make it.
Julie, you have my word. I'm gonna bring a ton of equipment. Anything that I can assist and help.
I will put you to work.
I'll be ready.
I've got like 8 cameras. I've got a GoPro Max and I've got a FLIR. And I just bought a 4K camera finally. So
And that's the great thing to be able to review in 360-degree 4K video. That is a real plus for us too.
Unbelievable.
Let's give you another shot at the Bordello room, and this is the longer clip on that little girl sitting on Julie's lap, freaking everybody the hell out.
And then we did a little EVP session over the well.
Mm-hmm. They got a lot of vulgar responses.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Wow.
Yeah, very eager to screw one of us.
Probably one of the damn prisoners that died.
What the fuck?
Did your camera have set about this now?
No, it's been on it the whole time. It's been on it the whole time. No, I was doing this back and forth. I have an IR light. It's not going to pick it up.
What? She said it's a prisoner and that went on.
See, my camera's not going to set it off.
Isn't that adorable?
But
I think Marie,
that would be my last investigation. That'd be it for me.
I think Marie spoke for all of us there.
But Julie, who said something about a prisoner dying? Do you think that had anything to do with that going on? You mentioned the presence, and all of a sudden, right after that, it goes off.
Well, there's a prison nearby. There was a bordello. Men did visit the place. There was the mafia downstairs. So we're just trying to reaching out. Could have been this, could have been this. It's ironic that it did go off after that. So we definitely have a lot more follow-up questions.
Wow.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And Julie, you and I kind of messaged about this last week, I think, too, because I was curious with the amount of tech that's available that y'all use, and you use all kinds of things. You have the lights, you have your cameras, you've got the doll, you've got all these different things. So now that you've already been there once, are you looking at bringing more of certain kinds of equipment or adding anything into the mix? I know Bill's bringing his own stuff, but based on your experiences there, were there certain pieces of equipment that fared better than others, that they reacted to better? Or does it tie into that conversation about spirits pick and choose which device they interact with most? That's a really long question.
I know we're gonna, I'll bring everything I have. What I try to film, I try to get cameras in every room, again, with 8-9 cameras that I have. Because you might catch a noise in one room, it could be a muffled noise in another room, and it could be nothing in another room. So the triangulation is something we really, really push, and to see if we can get it on multiple cameras. So to me, you can never have enough cameras. If I had enough money, I'd have a camera for every room. But it's takes a little longer to review everything. But I sync up my cameras and I'm like, at 1300 here, I've got this clip, and I can go through the other ones and go right to those time and see if the same thing happened. But it's really cool because you think I've got a grumbling stomach here, and finding out in another room it was a clear EVP. So
yeah,
sometimes
we have
very true.
We have an opportunity to do some. We can mic up Cody and Satori for their tapping, which is much more profound with a mic in his at their feet, literally.
Mhm.
This shouldn't be an issue with the wooden floors and the age of the place. Plus the idea that there are only 6 of us total going, and not everybody in the team can make it, but
Mhm.
we're going to make it work to our advantage with a smaller group and such a big place to cover. So,
How many square feet is it? Do you know? Or like how
I
many
don't know.
rooms is it?
There's like 7 or 8 rooms, but some of the rooms are deceiving. Like I slept in the gentleman's quarters. They probably have 6 beds in the room. It's just a huge room.
Got it.
So, and it's just weird. It looks like a really large house more than a hotel, but it's just really
Right.
cool. There's again the creepy rooms. There's 3 floors. It's just going to be really cool. And one thing we're doing this time too to help our audio, I've got wireless mics. So we
Excellent.
won't have the echo for the intro. So I've been keeping Amazon really busy the last 2 weeks. I'm always thinking
Now,
more cameras, more memory cards, more everything.
this is the Sony A7S III. This is a really good camera that's in my hand right now, and I'm going to bring this with a tripod. And yes, we can hook up a wireless mic receiver and transmitter onto the camera. So I'm going to bring quite a bit of equipment. I have a thing called Mevos. They're wireless cameras that can record both video and sound. I have 3 of those with their own tripods. So
cool.
I am going to have fun with you with all the toys that combine that we're going to have.
I'm bringing everything I can. And again, I'm trying to get to 4K cameras now. So I'm trying to be selling some of my 2K cameras. So I'm always trying to improve. And I just wish GoPro would have a night shot on their 360 Max. That's the only thing I'm disappointed about. But that's all right.
Is that the camera you walk the property, like when you're at the farm? Is that the camera you walk the property with? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
yeah, we might try some UV lighting for that just to test it, because it's one of the things we tell everybody when they spend an awful lot of money on these IR illuminators. Go buy a black light bulb, unscrew a light in the room, screw the black light bulb in, and turn on the lamp.
I'll bring some of mine because I have those too.
It illuminates your infrareds, for like $2.75.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't let that get out. That's
I
all.
have to ask the question: what is the history of the Shanley Hotel?
Well,
I mean,
It's a lot of things.
yeah.
So we're going. I'm
old
probably going to have Chris look into it this week.
Okay.
But there is, they do a pretty good job on their website as far as running down what it was from its beginnings, and a lot of different iterations of the place. A bordello that later on became a bordello again, and then, a mob hangout, a home. This hosted a lot of social events, a lot of parties. It was kind of for the elites of the area, and a lot of dignitaries stayed there at one point. I think Eleanor Roosevelt was one of them.
Yep, she was one of them, and one of the bedrooms is named after her.
Right. Let's check out a couple of more clips here. This one's upstairs. And again, someone hears something. So we're going to let you all decide, put you to work tonight. Here you go.
Yeah, but there's a lot of devices here, and I'm sure you've seen some of them before. And we've come a long way to visit you. We've heard lots of stories. And we just love to communicate with you tonight.
If you touch the red little light there, it'll make noise, the REM pod.
Okay, it doesn't sound like much, but when Julie's giving whoever it is the option of the different things that they can interact with it, with her and the group with, they did get a response. Here is that response. Now, we think at first blush that this individual is saying somehow, like, I'll give it a try. Play it again.
Yeah, I hear somehow.
There you go. But what we do know, there's a male voice in there. And again, you only run across these things with the painstaking task of breaking all of this down and listening to it. You know,
Was that
And there were
disembodied?
there were no men in the building, so
right.
But
so
could
that's
you
a
hear
big
it? You
thing,
could
too.
hear it?
Yes.
Wow.
And here's another great one I want to play. This is what has been labeled a gentleman's room, and it's appropriate for his response.
What was that? How's that day?
What's that?
I think that's that one in the middle again.
What does that mean? Emotion?
Yeah, it means something went near it, yeah.
Okay. See, that's how that works. You came near it and the light went on. So you're in the back part of the room.
As Julie explains it, he expresses his appreciation, saying thank you.
Were you the only ones there in that room? Was that everybody that was wrong? Because I'm hearing banging in the distance too going on.
Well, there were some people setting up. We had some people walking in and out, but we were pretty much all, there were 7 of us, and we pretty much were all in the same area. So again, you will hear noises and no one saying anything. We had just got into the room, and some people were still coming and going. So,
Jeez.
So, what else we got? Here's one I thought was interesting that would probably, George would love this. This is outside with a spirit box and something pretty interesting. This is one of the clearer ones that I've heard. So check it out. Here you go.
That's in Michael?
I thought Michael was the kid that got run over.
That's what I thought too. That's why I just got
he's
quiet.
the kid that got run over by the father.
Well, it said Michael.
It did, yeah. Michael.
Take it down. Here's what came over.
No doubt.
Michael, wait.
Clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Interesting. I thought that was a good one as those things go.
Mm-hmm.
And sad.
Yes.
It's very sad. The kid, I'm pretty sure the kid's name was Michael, where the story was they were driving down the street or something, and the kid fell out of the car and his father ran him over.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and when we were at the well, the girl had drowned in the well. So there's definitely some, traumatic things that have happened at this place inside and outside.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, not surprising at a place that old with all the different things that it was. I mean, there are tragedies that are going to occur, and those things remain in the ether when emotions are released. It's just a matter of whether we can tap into them intentionally, because a lot of times people will hear things like, what a lot of people don't realize, when you hear footsteps, that's also an apparition. We tend to think of apparitions as full figures of people, but apparitions can be things that not only you see, but you hear and you smell. Those can always, that can also be a remnant or a relic from a different time. So it's a matter of always having these things running, always being aware of it, always being aware of each other, making sure we know where everybody is. So that's why a little bit smaller crew can work to your advantage. So we're going in with that in our minds right now. I mean, there will be no excuse for any kind of extraneous noise from any of us, because it's such a small crew that we could probably all be in the same area at some point.
I just want to say, as an example, when you have done these live investigations in the past, Aaron, George, and I, and the audience that were either watching or listening, when Cody and Satori were doing their thing, it sounded like there was shuffling going to and from, from their location. So yes, just footsteps. We clearly heard them on past live investigations.
And I have to say, this place without Cody and Satori there, because I filmed a lot of them in their sessions, the amount of banging on the floors, I've never had any. This place has the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually make a comment on one of the clips to say you don't even need Cody and Satori around, because you could hear the bangs, and you could say if it was under Jennifer or near Jacqueline or whatever, but you could. This is the most clear footsteps that I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was interesting. There were a few clips of that. Sometimes you had Maria's Echo Box running, so there were quite a few clips of what was obviously tapping when everybody was in the same room, which I thought was interesting because, I mean, this is a place that's investigated quite a bit for events, and that's probably a technique that people have preached for the longest time. Make a sound, make a tap, make a bang. And then eventually maybe some of that starts to sink in a little bit. You know, I would love to be able to talk to people who went there, and we will. I know a ton of people. I'm going to let us go first, and then I'm going to ask them about their experiences there to see if there's anything common that, you know, we experienced that they did as well. I wanted to jump on this clip real quick. Facebook user, the first clip you played, which you thought you heard the word bells, I thought I heard rose. Fair enough. Just reading the history, and in 1911, a girl named Rosie Greger drowned in a well across the street. Okay, that's it's a great point, and that's why we do what we do. It doesn't mean it's a definitive answer, but it's certainly a direction to go in.
Sure.
You know, so we'll absolutely we'll give you that. So again, to like reiterate the point, for most of us other than Julie, this will be our first trip there. So we're really coming in as empty vessels, and we're going to bring our methods and the typical things that we do and see what kind of results we get. So for the last 20 minutes or so of the show, if anybody has any questions or any comments on anything that you think you're going to see or what you're going to do, or if you've been to the Shanley Hotel, give us a little bit of a heads up, or we'll make the doll come on.
And Aaron won't sleep for the rest of the night.
That's right.
Julie, did you have a favorite room in there?
I think from a paranormal perspective, I think the Bordello area had a lot going on. I had hopes on the gentleman's area. That's where I'd slept. You hear stories of people being pulled out of their bed.
Wow.
That didn't happen to me. I didn't have covers pulled off. I was really hoping that was going to happen. But you hear the stories, but I think the Bordello area, which we almost forgot about because there's so many places to go to in the hotel. Again, it was around 2:00 in the morning. We were there, and I couldn't get over motion, audibles, a little bit of everything. And when you have things going off in rooms and bedrooms when nobody's in there, that again, my IR light's not going to trigger anything. So I thought that was really cool. And there's a lot of beeps in all the video clips, or maybe there won't be beeps in the video clips, but there's a lot of stuff, you know, you have things going off simultaneously in two different rooms. That sort of gives you a little bit of the creeps, but it was all good. I mean, I don't think we had, I think one of the rooms upstairs, I think is Anna. I think another one is Rose, the two rooms up there, but it was just really
interesting.
Yeah, it was, I think it was, but it was cool. Again, there was so many things you could do. And again, after about 3:00, people just started falling asleep. But again, it was just an awesome place. The creep factor, I'm just looking forward to taking pictures and stuff. And having Cody and Satori there, and I know too, there's tall ceilings. I know one of the clips we heard something. We talk about tall ceilings, which usually was a reflection of wealth. Older buildings had tall ceilings, people had money. But I'm bringing one of my little, and I'm sure Ken knows what one of these is a golf ball grabber, telescoping. It's probably about 20 feet. Yeah, Aaron, you should know too. I'm going to bring that so we can stick the K2 meter up there and put it against the ceiling.
Oh,
So,
I love it. Ingenuity at
at
its finest.
I got one too. We'll double
I mean,
up on it.
We know that worked really good at the Oliver House, but these ceilings are just too tall to do it.
We've
But,
made a habit, I think, over the years of looking at common everyday things, because this is how our weird minds are wired, and say, how can I apply that to what it is that we do? And most of the time, it doesn't work out. But every once in a while, you get this eureka kind of moment where it's just kind of like, wow, I can take that pencil and record the dead with it,
I got 4K
Julie,
cameras and IR lights.
Yeah,
and
right.
Now I have a golf ball grabber,
I got two kids who can tap on the floor. Checkmate.
Right.
Bing, bing, light, 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 light. Oh, that's fantastic. Wow, it talks to you. Cody, Satori. Sandy wants to know, Julie, what were you most excited about on your review of things?
A couple clips where I know we would probably never play it because it's not really loud, but I was in the gentleman's quarter. And again, when I do my video review, I've got noise canceling headphones plugged into an amp that's cranked and the laptop, so I can hear everything. But it sounded like we were asking, can you do anything? And it sounded like a blunt came up, which is a reference to a cigar, which we were right next to a table of cigars, which I thought that was really cool.
That's not what I know of a blunt.
Well, that and another one was another clip where we were asking questions up in the bordello, and the clip is clear whisper. I don't know. Were you this person? Were you that person? And that came up several times. And but I think the EVPs, it's just nice. You don't have something. They're not being generated by anything. A lot of these were disembodied voices, which are just nice, because some places you go to, everyone would say, what was that? I heard that. And you'll hear that a lot on the clips.
I want to give everybody a little flavor of the place. So I'm going to run a couple of pictures for you. Here's an exterior shot. It's a fairly sizable place. So for 6 people to have that on their own with access to everything, that should be fun. And is there a Anna's room? Is that what this is?
Yes, that might be one of the rooms in the bordello.
Okay, so obviously they've kind of kept the flavor of that Prohibition era type thing. Is Erin's favorite shot of the spooky hallway?
Yeah, that's
what do you think? What are you picking up from that, Erin?
I'm assuming that that's something mob related, fighting, yelling, somebody got dragged, but I get a lot of fighting and yelling, but it just has I mean, it's obviously a narrow hallway, but it almost is like it just, even though it's narrow anyway, it just kind of keeps closing around you, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I see a man and a woman like staggering down the hall to their room. It shows you where my head is at.
Well, that's probably also true,
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm right. It's a bordello, I mean.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I like the
that's
ambiance of it, and the ceilings are good. That looks like casted type of on the ceilings as you just before you get to the landing of the stairs. And Julie, is this the lobby?
Yes, that's where. Yeah, and they have breakfast in the morning behind the clock area, and I'm guessing this is probably where we'll do our opening interviews for the live event.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. So
such a cool
very much
place.
looking forward to it. So Bill, we got to get some thoughts from you on this. First time out going to this place.
I have to say that hallway does creep me out, and it does look like a place where mobsters definitely would engage and have a conversation right in that hallway, up close and personal, out of view from everybody else. Like, let's take it over there.
Fighting.
You know what I mean? That kind of a deal. I could definitely feel that. But I'm also thinking about what you all said, the social gatherings at this place, the history.
Yeah.
Can you imagine all the people that have been through this place? When was it built again? The 1700s? 1800s?
I think the 1800s.
1800s?
1880.
So imagine the history alone and the
Oh,
things
yeah.
that happened in the past. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this. I really am.
Well, the place is under relatively new ownership now. Sal Nicosia, who was synonymous with the place for years and years and years. Sadly, Sal is no longer with us. Never got a chance to meet him, but everyone I've come across has nothing but the best things to say. You know, Sal was the Shanley Hotel. And it seems as though Kim, the new owner, is, you know, just it's like a parallel to what Jacqueline's trying to do. You know, keep the ambiance, but allow it to evolve as
Yeah.
the years go on. You
Yeah.
know, so I like that kind of approach because I think it's appreciated by everyone, living and dead, that a
Yeah.
place has to go on. The other thing is there's a old general store that was just torn down across the street this week.
Wow.
So I don't know if that means anything because it looks like the place was pretty much condemned and abandoned. It was just a matter of time that it had to come down, but I don't know if that feeds anything or not.
I bet
but,
you it does.
we'll
I bet
see.
you it does. That place has been there a long time and now it's gone. You probably got some pretty uppity, unhappy spirits
I
who are
think-
now going to come over to the Shanley and go, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, homeless. But I don't know. I
Right?
guess if at the very least it looks like it was built at the same time. But
Yeah, I think it was a
possibly,
general store or something.
possibly
Yeah.
even older. You know, because this was a home at one point. That was like, if that was a general store, that's probably one of the first buildings in the town, obviously.
Right.
So
And a big
Yeah.
place for supplies for
Yeah.
that
Yep.
family.
yeah, absolutely.
And it was super creepy. We were talking about it. And I mean, I was just there 6 weeks ago. And it got torn down this past week. We were saying how creepy it was.
Yeah.
And it's always
Yeah.
sad to see that kind of stuff go, but it probably was a little dangerous. I mean, you know, it was in really bad shape.
Would be an interesting
Coach
question.
says, "Really, put that doll away."
I'll put the doll away. It's past her bedtime. So
But I think that'd be an interesting question, though, when you guys go is, you know, because I mean, think about any kind of location that gets renovated, what that can potentially, you know, oftentimes stir up. So not only have you now you didn't renovate it, you just just gone. So it'd be interesting to see if anybody has any thoughts on it from our friends
I
on the
don't
other
know.
side about what
they're
happened.
doing renovations right now too on the hotel
Oh wow.
and the owner's quarters.
Ah.
So they have that going on as well. So
Yeah. The
Interesting.
renovations thing has been that's been around forever. You know, it ramps up activity. I've probably been in situations where something has happened that may be attached to it. I wish there was more empirical data on it. You
Right.
know, but those kind of things, mostly anecdotal. You go by owners and guests and the people that are there. It's like, you know, yeah, you know, when the painters or the plumbers or the electricians run out of the building, that's when I say, "Oh, really? Tell me more."
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
How
Julie,
soon can I come in?
on a creepy scale, because you've been to a lot of places. I'll rate it like this: would you rate it a night alone in that place? Like, where would this rank on the top, like level? Like, I'm not gonna spend the night alone.
you gotta rate it in skulls. 5 skulls, 7 skulls.
Well, it's right under the I think. You know,
Oh.
there alone. It's creepy. And when everybody went to bed, I had the whole first floor to myself. And I'm thinking, is this good or is this bad? I'm not sure.
Julie, you and I are not the same. I do not have the I saw that doll and literally almost threw my phone. So you can imagine it in an actual environment like that. I am not the person you want on your investigation, probably.
It's just, I mean, I guess because I've done it so long.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, the doll is going to creep people out because I'm sure the doll will be seen by people on the highway. We're on the road Friday afternoon. That's my plan. And Ken already
You gotta get her
offered to
high
bring-
up enough.
Yeah, well,
Have her
Ken
face
offered to
out the
bring his,
window.
his grandson's car seat too, but I think she's going to be active in the car. So
Yeah, I think that what we'll probably I know for the 4-hour trip, we'll be going on Facebook Live with a bunch of idiots singing in the car. We don't have any costumes to dress up in this time, unfortunately. But hey, one more question back on that. And everybody can jump in on this. We only got a couple of minutes. Shelley, like to know, do you think spirits dislike the renovation? Probably, if it's hectic. In terms of renovation ramping up activity, the most common sense explanation I've ever heard is just a change to something they're used to.
Mhm.
You know, if indeed this does happen, that would probably be the most sensible type thing. It's like you're doing this without my permission or something. We already know from experience going to somewhere like the Payne House that the madam of the house, Sarah Whipple, doesn't like the color that they painted her bedroom. But she
Right.
told us this. So
Right.
It'll be interesting.
George is back.
Yeah, the only thing again, and this is just a reminder to everyone with a few minutes remaining, that we are going to be broadcasting live this Friday night from the Shanley Hotel. That is June 16th. And our hopes, and there was not much talk about it, was with regards to any shadow play that happens at this location. But that's where you guys in the chat really come into play, helping us with any type of visuals that you may see, whether it be in the form of orbs or something larger, more prominent. So you guys, we welcome you to join us for this particular event on Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, help us out. Absolutely. You know, we're not doing this in a vacuum. I mean, we're doing this for you folks, and hey, we expect you to join in. Let us know what's going on. If you post a message, George lets us know. Hey, Sandy says there's something in the bordello, so we'll sacrifice Steve or Bill.
I'm willing.
or Ken.
Bill's like, I volunteer as tribute.
New guy.
Yeah.
Or if guests also want to chime in and like maybe we should have a camera in a certain place. You know, hey, we're more than welcome to listen to any input. A lot of people have been to this place. You know, I'm going to try to hoping to set up several cameras, stationary cameras. So, but if you have ideas, you know, we're all listening.
I'll bring my laptop too, just in case we want to be able to pop in separately, because we can hook up the stream to that as well.
Yeah, and if we don't do the stream, we can do the HDMI as well. So, and I have Wi-Fi hotspots as well. So between you and me, Bill, I think we're good.
We got this.
We got this.
Yeah, we do.
Time will tell.
Yeah, and time is out for tonight, guys, and so are we. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Jacqueline Nunez in the first hour. When we see you guys next, and understand that when we do the show on Friday, we'll not be doing a show on Sunday. So it'll probably be the following week that we'll do probably a post-mortem at that point in time, depending upon how much evidence there is and the time available for both Ken and Julie to go through. So want to thank everybody tonight, and thank you guys in the chat as always. Fantastic to see you, and can't wait to see you guys at Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for watching Dead Air. Have a good night. And broadcast.
Yep.
Indonesia.